to kindly stand. Let us show respect for the arrival of the Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Froila Salam. Let's give her a big round of applause, please, our Governor General. I'd like to ask you all again to remain standing, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can all, and please sing along our Belizean national anthem that's going to be performed by the Allegro Music School. Beautifully done, thank you. And again, thank you for remaining standing. I call upon Reverend Erico Reyes from the Nazarene Church, who is going to lead us in prayer.
Shall we pray? Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to gather at this place to celebrate and honor these men and women who have stood during good times and bad times in serving our people. As the theme says, selfless service, dedicated hearts, celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. Yes, Lord, selfless service. Your word always is a light, wisdom, guidance, as it tells us the following. Do nothing for selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Let each of you look not only for their own interests, but also for the interests of others. They have dedicated their time, their hearts to service. You, Lord, know many of them, and you also, Father God, tells us that whatever our hands do, to do it with all our might. For the realm of death, where we are all going, there is neither working nor planning nor knowledge, nor wisdom. Lord, we know it is easy to get discouraged or to feel like our job don't have a purpose. Sometimes we find ourselves craving something more. But thank you, Lord, for always reminding us about the work we do. You tell us to work with all our might, regardless of what we are doing here on earth. This also reminds us to put our all, regardless of how we are feeling at the moment, about our position, about our profession or accomplishment. Lord, help us so that whatever we do, may we work at it with all our heart, as we are working for you, not for human masters. Since you promise that we will receive an inheritance from you, who will give us the reward. It is you, Lord, that we are serving. So, as we join together today to celebrate the value and virtues of the public servants, may those who come behind us find us faithful, Lord, and we trust that on the final day we will hear from you, good and faithful servant. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. Thank you.
You may all sit, please. Thank you, Pastor. I will call out the guest list protocol the way it was written for me on this document, on this paper. And I will call out on the 25-year-long service awardees as a group, NEMO Special Responders awardees, the theme winner, Miss Shamaya Kal, Press Office, Her Excellency DM Froila Zalam, Reverend Erico Reyes, Pastor Sukkot's Church of Nazarene, His Worship Earl Trapp, Mayor of San Ignacio and Santa Elena Towns, Honorable Henry Charles Usher, Ministry of Public Service, Mr. Glenford Dennison, Deputy Chair of the People's Constitution Commission, Mr. Rolando Cetina, CEO for the Ministry of Public Service, Ms. Freya Parham August, Ms. Charlene Neal, Deputy Mayor, San Ignacio and Santa Elena Towns, Mr. Zair Figueroa, immediate past Deputy Mayor, San Ignacio and Santa Elena Town Council, Ms. Diana Price Murillo, Chairperson, Public Services Commission, Alma Gomez, President, Association of Public Service Senior Managers, Mr. Dean Flowers, President, Public Service Union, the MPS Management Team, and again, the Public Service Day National Committee members. So ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a big round of applause. Let me hear you. A big, big round of applause for yourselves this evening. And to waste no time, I'd like to call upon His Worship, the Mayor, Mr. Earl Trapp, Mayor of San Ignacio and Santa Elena Town Councils. And ladies and gentlemen, he's going to give us the welcome address. Give the Mayor a big round of applause, people. Let me hear you.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Javier Gutierrez. And like you rightly said, you're really getting into it right away, sir. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased to be able to welcome the Governor General of Belize, Her Excellency, Mrs. Froila Salam, the Minister of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs, Honorable Henry Charles Usher, Deputy Mayor of San Ignacio and Santa Elena, Ms. Charlene Neal, Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs, Mr. Rodolfo Cetina, the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Mrs. Diana Price Murillo, the Chairperson of the Public Service Day National Committee, of the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs, Mrs. Freya Param Agas, co-chair of the San Ignacio Public Service Day Subcommittee, Inspector Jose Bati, Ms. Shamaya Kal, second-class clerk, who submitted the theme under which Public Service Day is being celebrated today, Crown Council Attorney, Mr. Glenfield Dennison, Reverend Erico Reyes, the public servants who have reached the 25 years milestone, the disaster and emergency responders, press office officials, members of the Allegro Music School, and invited guests, a pleasant good evening. Today marks the anniversary of the Public Service Day, and we are very proud to be able to host this in the beautiful twin towns of San Ignacio and Santa Elena, and of course, this beautiful setting here at the San Ignacio Hotel. Every year, on Public Service Day, we pay homage to public servants, women and men who proudly dedicate their ideas, innovations, and efforts to serve the government of Belize and our citizens. As this year's theme reminds us, public servants must act seeking at all times the maximum attention to the needs and demands of society above individual interests and benefits alien to collective satisfaction. They must dedicate all their efforts to fulfill with the maximum efficiency and highest effectiveness the mission entrusted to them. As we commemorate the importance of this day, let us celebrate not only the work of public servants throughout our country, but also their commitment to the cooperation through which we will build a better future for all. Whether through collaborations with the private sector on technology solutions that follow improving public service delivery, or joining forces with civil society groups to better reflect diverse voices in public policy, programs, and community responses. Partnerships are critical to designing and delivering inclusive services. As Kerry Chapman wrote, I quote, "Service to a just cause rewards the worker with more real happiness and satisfaction than any other venture of life." Close quote. Public servants are people with vocation and pride, work hard every day to serve and help our fellow Belizeans. It is worth mentioning that they always rise to the challenge to perform emergency management duties, for which they must always be commended and acknowledged. During election times, they work very hard and in sync, ensuring that we have fair and impartial results, which makes Belize a nation that breathes the spirit of democracy. That is an important element that makes Belize a unique nation in our region. Working together implies learning the values of sharing and teamwork around an exercise or project in accordance with the objectives that we have set for ourselves. Just as the moon gives us its glow and the sun its rays, we have to learn to weave through the threads of knowledge, build and take advantage of the great potential that each one of us has as human beings and public servants. An example as a kind of parable is the task typical of our communities, which teach us that to solve an issue or problem, that it is essential to join force collectively. Let us always act based on the truth, fulfilling our duties with transparency and honesty, and always favoring the public's interests. Let us recognize, value, and treat all people with dignity, with their virtues and defects, regardless of their work, origin, title, or any other condition. Let us be aware of the importance of our roles as public officers and be in a permanent disposition to understand and solve the needs of the people with whom we interact in our daily tasks. Always seek to improve their well-being. In closing, I want to say that the initiative to publicly honor deserving public servants and their noble contribution to the Belizean people is a critical part of Belize's history. Apart from acknowledgements and accolades, it makes all of us very proud to be embracing the opportunity of our partnership and participation in today's ceremony. Thank you all for your service, your sincere hard work and dedication into the development of this nation. As we celebrate Public Service Day under the theme Belize Public Service, selfless service, dedicated hearts, celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you very much, Mayor Earl Trapp. And again, I'm going to repeat that. Ms. Shamaya Kal wrote, selfless service, dedicated hearts, celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. Deep. Give her a big round of applause. Ms. Shamaya Kal wrote exactly what each and every one of you, of us, should be in this beautiful country of Belize. But before we continue, I need to tell you all that the day cannot be completed without your leader coming up here to congratulate you, to big you up, and to tell you the good that you have done and not what else needs to get done. Ladies and gentlemen, I call upon the Honorable Henry Charles Usher, Minister of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform, and Religious Affairs, to give you the big congratulations, his remarks, and congratulating you. Give him a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody is dressed up so nicely this afternoon. There must be an award ceremony going on. Well, I don't have to go through the list because the MC and the mayor went through a very comprehensive list just now of all the dignitaries with us this afternoon. But certainly I want to acknowledge, I want to congratulate, I want all of us to have a big round of applause for all of the public officers here, the 25-year awardees who are with us this evening. This is the third time I've had the opportunity, the honor really, to be able to celebrate public officers during this week. And it never ceases to amaze me of the hard work, dedication, and sacrifice made by our frontliners. You are the face of the government. Your Excellency, Governor General Dame Froila Salam, thank you for once again joining us. Last year I had the GG have to circle Dangriga a couple times because I was a bit tardy. So I had to make sure I was early this time. Keynote speaker, Mr. Glenfield Dennison, who is pulling double duty today because he was supposed to be at a PCC event in Belize City, and he's also here with us this evening. So thanks for joining us, Glenfield. I'm looking forward to your presentation on the People's Constitution Commission. The work of this commission is one of the most important in our country's 42-year history, and I encourage all Belizeans to stay engaged. As I said at the launch back in November, rewriting the supreme law of the land is no task that should be undertaken lightly. It can only be done at the right time and under the right circumstances. The mandate can only come from the people, and the people must be at the center of the process. I firmly believe that as a collective citizenry, putting aside our political, religious, or any other difference, we must take a hard look at our systems and structures of government. We must think about new ways to solve problems, participate more in our governance, accelerate and hopefully complete the process of decolonization, and finally, own our independence. Last night, my wife Jamie and I had the opportunity to have dinner with known Caribbean political science professor Cynthia Barrow-Giles. She said that the Caribbean is looking to Belize. You see, there have been attempts in Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent at constitutional reform, and none of them have been successful. That is why the region is looking at us. The reason she said that none were successful is because there is great cynicism and mistrust in the institutions of government throughout our region. And that is where we come in as public officers. It is our duty to rebuild the public trust, and we do so with fair, efficient, and effective service. So Glenfield, your task is a great one. I challenge you, who will be leading the education campaign and countrywide consultations, to allow Belizeans to hear different views and make up their own minds. We must find a way to enshrine our Belizean values and principles and forge a path that leads to a deepening of our democracy and the sustainable development of our country. It will be hard work, but I know it can be done. Turning back now to the Public Service and Public Service Week. This year, the organizing committee chose San Ignacio for the venue. Mayor Trapp, thank you for the warm welcome to the Twin Towns. Mayor Trapp is a good example of what I just spoke about. Despite representing different sides of the political aisle, we have been able to develop a relationship that puts serving the people first. Big credit must go to the mayor for this, and I have to also acknowledge the Deputy Mayor, Ms. Neal, with us this afternoon, for the excellent work that they have been doing here in Santa Elena and San Ignacio. A round of applause, please, for our Town Council. Preparations for this week started months ago. I want to thank the team at the ministry, and it is a big team. The team not only includes members of the Ministry of Public Service, but members of the organizing committee throughout the country. You see, there are various events happening all over Belize. And even if I didn't know what week this was, my hand certainly does, my writing hand, that is. CEO Zettina and I, every time this time of year, have to sign over 1,000 certificates. No stamp or electronic signature here. They are all original, maybe with a little variation here and there, because my threshold is about 300 signatures in one sit-down. But for me, it is the least I can do as minister to show my appreciation for the long service of our public officers. For 2023, there are 1,654 long service recipients, 746 10 years, 373 for 15 years, 320 for 20 years, 104 for 25 years, 85 for 30 years, and 27 for 35 years. Wow, that's incredible. While most of these recipients will be recognized by their home ministry or department, as we usually do, we are having the award ceremony today for the 25 years or the silver awardees. Now, silver is a traditional 25-year insignia and not an indication of age, mind you. Though 25 years in the public service will give you some silvers, right? We're also very honored to recognize and award today 9 NEMO special responders. It feels like Hurricane Lisa was only a few weeks ago, and we are already in another hurricane season and already on the lookout. I have to salute the public officers who report to duty when called and go above and beyond what's asked of them. In September, we will unveil the new plaques at the Walk of Recognition and Inspiration for the 35-year recipients. At the same time, we hope to launch an e-library of all the public officers whose names are permanently carved. I think this is a great opportunity to further honor these women and men who have given so much of their lives to public service. Now, when Belizeans, young and old, visit the walk and see a name, they can visit the e-library to find out more about that individual. Belize adopted the UN resolution designating June 23rd as Public Service Day in 2005. And since then, the country has organized special events on and around that day to highlight the contribution of public service in the development process. Very fittingly, the theme for this year is Belize Public Service, Selfless Service, Dedicated Hearts, celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. Congratulations to Ms. Shamaya Kala. I didn't meet her, I didn't see her in the room. Is she here? Please stand if you're here, Ms. Shamaya. I guess not. Well, she is the winner of the team this year. She's a second-class clerk at the Southern Regional Hospital. She said that the inspiration came from observing selfless and dedicated acts of kindness from all public officers, while putting in the hard work of growing and advancing the country they swore to serve. Certainly, this is very powerful indeed, Shamaya, and we thank you for submitting this theme. We started this week with an ecumenical service, and the Bible passage chosen spoke exactly about what Shamaya wrote about. Very briefly, if you allow me, I would like to just quote 3 verses from this particular Bible passage from 2 Corinthians. The first verse, "Do not let your acceptance of His grace come to nothing." In other words, don't waste your gifts God has given you. Use them for good, public officers. Second verse, "Avoid putting obstacles in anyone's way so that no blame may attach to your work of service." For me, this means that your work should not bring hardship to anyone. Your success should not come at the expense of someone else. Work together, not against each other. And the final verse, "In everything, prove yourselves to be authentic servants of God by resolute perseverance in times of hardship, difficulty, and distress." Very straightforward language. Be real, authentic. Be true, authentic. And when the going gets tough, public officers, you just have to get tougher. Public officers, your work embodies these 3 verses. As a public service, we are at our best when we are united, when we use our God-given talents to help our fellow citizens, when we protect the most vulnerable among us, when we work for the common good and not tear each other down, when we are true and real and work hard, when we put aside our differences to build our nation. The international financial pundits were all saying that it would take 20 years for Belize to recover. But this government, led by the Honorable John Briceño, did not throw up our hands in defeat. We believe in the resiliency of our public officers and our Belizean people. This was an existential threat, a crisis to our country, and we knew it would take a comprehensive plan and a collective effort to address. The wage bill is still a topic that needs to be addressed. Still, over 60 cents out of every dollar collected in recurrent revenue is spent on wages, pensions, and wage-related subsidies. If you put in the loan payments, it leaves very little for actual work on projects. In our latest round of discussions and consultations this year with the Joint Union team, 2 very important issues were agreed upon. First, the increment was resumed. I am sure this was welcome in all quarters, and I am happy that the resumption could have happened 1 year before it was planned. Public officers, you all know the drill. Please get in your performance appraisal reports so that when your increment date comes, there are no delays. There was a little misunderstanding as to when the increment resumption would take effect, because in 2020, when former Prime Minister Barrow announced that the increment would be foregone, it took effect on May 1st of 2020. So the question was, why resume April 1st, 2023? Wouldn't that perpetuate the unfair advantage to those who received their increment April 1st, 2020? So I wanted to clear up this issue. The short and definitive answer is no. And the reason is that each increment period is separate and unique. It is based on the public officer's performance from the previous fiscal year. Increments for 2023 are based on fiscal year 22-23 and has nothing to do with fiscal year 2019-2020. So the unfair advantage created in 2020 can't be fixed by creating an unfair advantage in 2023. Now, as to the two increments that were frozen under this administration, the government has agreed to review the economic performance of the country in future fiscal years to see if and how there can be some kind of compensation. And please know that at the time of retirement, the calculation of benefits will be done as if no increment freeze was implemented. Speaking about retirement, after more than 20 years of discussion, there was finally a breakthrough when it comes to pension reform. Without going into details, government has prepared a proposal addressing the three main areas of pension: the retirement age, the contribution rate, and the replacement rate. We are working with the Joint Union team to see how the proposal can be implemented in the public service, taking into account years of service and age. It will not be a one-size-fits-all. New public officers entering the service will automatically fall under these new terms and conditions of service, but there will be a tiered approach for those of you who have been in the service for years. The discussions are still ongoing, and I urge you all to stay in touch with these developments. As the Prime Minister said in his budget presentation in March, there is no duty more inviolable than the management of the public purse. The people expect those they elect to allocate these monies wisely, and those in the public service to spend these monies effectively. It is important then to have an empowered, a well-informed, a well-trained and equipped public service as the partner and implementer of executive policies. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that June 21st is the longest day of the year, but I don't want this to be the longest speech of today. Plan Belize pledges to return principles, and I'm wrapping up now. Plan Belize pledges to return principles and probity to public life, modernize the public service, and enhance customer orientation and quality service delivery. This includes giving recognition to the work and worth of public officers, encouraging service excellence, motivating public officers to modernize and innovate, promoting and instilling the cultural values and principles that we know and love and cherish in Belize, building employee morale and contributing to a positive and customer-focused organization. Public officers, these are noble and achievable goals. Again, I urge you to work together to be partners in development and add value to the lives of our fellow citizens. As we celebrate our hard-working public officers, let us also celebrate our country. Let us live by the principles of the Father of the nation and to lead lives of service. Congratulations to all our awardees. Happy Public Service Day to all. I am proud to be a public servant. Thank you very much.
That's the longest speech for June 21. But every word makes sense, right? Give the minister another big round of applause, people. And now I call upon the Magana Dance Group and La Voz de la Selva Marimba Group for their cultural presentation. One more? One more, people.
Pleasant evening to everyone. Happy today is celebrated as Service Union Day, I suggest, right? That's it. So I would like to congratulate everyone. Thanks for the invitation, and we are the Maganias Marimba Cultural Dancers. It's a pleasure for us to be here. What we're trying to do as a cultural group is focus in what we can call Cayo's folklore, and this is what we're doing. Cayo is very known for the marimba music, dancing of the zapateado, and that's what we're doing for this evening. Thank you very much. Our first presentation was the ribbon knotting, which is for us is a symbol of unity, a get together. Our following presentation will be a moment of celebration, and I guess that's just very special for today's occasion.
All right, give them a big round of applause, people. Yeah, it's cultural presentation. Every culture different, how to work that one, different, you know. But that's it, it's beautiful. Next, ladies and gentlemen, I call upon Inspector Jose Bati, co-chair of the Benqueviejo Public Service Day Subcommittee, and he will introduce our guest speaker. Give him a big round of applause. Inspector.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. With protocol already being established, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker. Mr. Glenfield G. Dennison is proud to be a born, raised, and resident son of Belize's South Side. A public servant at heart and an attorney by profession, he is humbled to have been asked to be the guest speaker for this year's Public Service Day and Award Day and Ceremony. Mr. Dennison achievements have been a high school diploma from the Wesley College in 2001, associate's degree in general studies from the St. John's Junior College in Belize City, the bachelor's of law from the University of Guyana in 2018, the Council of Legal Education at the Norman Manley Law School Legal Education Certificate. Mr. Dennison started his public service career in December 2009 at the Fisheries Department as the Fisheries Inspector, where his main responsibilities included education, outreach to fisheries stakeholders, and the prosecution of fisheries-related offenses in the Magistrates' Court. In 2016, he was transferred on promotion to the Legislative Drafting Unit as a drafting assistant, where he worked primarily on legislative research, drafting, and consolidation. He acted as the Deputy Registrar of the Vital Statistic Unit at the Attorney General Ministry in September of 2020 to 2021, managing the day-to-day operations and legal issues of the Civil Registry of Belize. Since 2021, he is presently working as a Crown Counsel at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Mr. Dennison is the National Trade Union Congress of Belize's representative on the People's Constitution Commission, and in 2022, he was elected from amongst the PCC's commissioners to the vice chair. His achievements include his course in legislative drafting course from the University of London, the 32nd International Training from the Parliament of India, and consolidation of laws from the Regional Law Revision Center in Anguilla. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly join me in giving Mr. Glenfield Dennison a huge Kayo welcome.
Thank you very much, Inspector. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank anyone and everyone who had anything to do with the selection of me for the humbling privilege to speak to you for the 17th Belize Public Service Day Awards ceremony. This is humbling because it is being celebrated under the theme Selfless Service, Dedicated Hearts, celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. And I am not sure that I am qualified to speak to you, those who have served Belize for a quarter of a century, on such a topic. While not here, I wish to take this opportunity to honor a public officer who has also served selflessly and retired early from the public service, Ms. Jacqueline Willoughby. And I give this speech in honor of her, I believe, 33 years of service to the government and people of Belize. After careful deliberation and intense debate, Minister, you know about debate, between the 3 or 4 voices and people in my head, I decided that it was important to use this occasion to address public officers in 3 categories: the good, the bad, and the Excellency. I want to assure you that there are no ugly people in your public service, and Belizeans are all beautiful people, especially those in your public service. So let me try again. The good, the bad, and the improving. You see, any attempt at understanding the role of public officers in Belize's progression must start with an appreciation that public service is the people who form the public service. Next, you would have to have knowledge that different people are all different. What might be thrilling to me might be terrifying to you. And what someone might see as essential, another person might see as counterproductive. What someone sees as confidence may be looked at as arrogance from another perspective. So that's why it's critical that we endeavor to understand the types of people and the varying stages of life that people can be in for us to be better public officers. Selfless service, dedicated hearts. By the end of this speech, I want all of you to know it now. Celebrating the value and virtue of public officers to Belize's progression. I'm going to start with the bad. I want to end on a good note, you see. Poor leadership and corruption. This is a difficult conversation, but we need to have it. The quality of leadership can make or break public officers. Good leaders, they don't play politics. Politicians are paid to play politics. But you are public servants. And public servants manage situations and projects. Now, if you do this right, you won't have to manage the people. If you refuse to engage in the politics, then you will be seen as honest and trustworthy. And trust me, there is no greater honor than your name being associated with being honest and trustworthy. Unfortunately, some people are poor leaders. I find that this is mainly because they don't understand that people need purpose more than money. Minister, I'm not suggesting that public servants don't need money, because I know I do, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So I'll read that line again just for clarity. Some people are poor leaders because they don't understand that people need purpose more than money. You need a reason to go to work every day. For some, it's difficult to understand how demoralized some people are. And certainly many public officers under poor leadership are demoralized. It's really something to witness, constantly how people are dying for a lack of an encouraging word, and how easy it is to provide if you are careful, if you give credit where credit is due, and take responsibility when things go wrong. Your selfless service as a leader requires that you invest in making your team better than you. Trust them, get them the resources, the best resources that they need, and train them to take over from you. Because the truth is, the public service will outlive all of us. If you want to build a great team, find the team members that bring out that insecurity in you that wants to hold team members back. Find those members and mentor them to replace you. If you do this, you will see that their loyalty turns things upward for your unit, your department, your ministry, and most importantly, for Belize. The bad C word, corruption. These include bribes, embezzlement, illicit enrichment, trading influence, abuse of functions such as patronage, nepotism, cronyism, and sextortion. They all undermine the independent decision-making and fair and competitive process in the formation or staffing of government. These forms of corruption are highly destructive for transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. Public sector corruption adds substantially to the cost of public goods and services and leads to misallocation of public resources. It weakens policy making and implementation, and it destroys public confidence in government. How is that relevant to you? We want to increase ROC, right? We want to increments retro. It hurts us, not only as public servants, but as a country. This is why it's so important that as much as possible, the efforts need to be internal to the public service, as well as we need external controls, such as laws and regulation, because the truth is, the cure for corruption requires broad-based public participation. I know this is a hard pill to swallow, but it's imperative that we as public officers come up with monitoring and oversight tools, because fighting corruption has to be a collective action. This will depend heavily on the integrity of each public officer. The challenge here is accepting that there are no shades of integrity. You either have it or you don't. I need to hear that again, or we got that? There are no shades of integrity. It is a black and white issue. You either have it or you don't. I call on your dedicated hearts to fight for our country by stomping out corruption and making Belize the place your grandchildren can progress in. Remember, the time to fight for your country has to be before you lose it. That time is now. The needs improvement. Remember earlier I mentioned that some people are dying for lack of encouragement. There are people who are barely holding it together. Barely. If you don't believe me, ask around in the office. The 13th, 14th, and 15th of June were just gone. Those people are each of us. Perhaps not now, maybe you are in a good place, but perhaps a past version of you, or a future version of you. You see, public officers, we're humans, and we don't always have it together. But the best part is, it's perfectly okay to not be okay. This is why it's critical that while we celebrate the value and virtue of public officers, that we all do some introspection, some soul searching. Because knowing when and where you're stuck and asking for help is one of the strongest and most powerful decisions you will ever make. Or, as a good leader, recognizing that a team member needs an encouraging word or a helping hand really can have a positively transformative effect, not only for the team or the unit or the department or ministry, but most importantly, for that team member's family. And of course, the converse is true. Every time we lose a good public servant, we devastate a family. That is why I am grateful that the ministry embarked on a modernization program for the Belize Public Service, which focuses on people, organizational processes, and structured programs. For those who don't know, I'm referring to the Employee Assistance Program. The EAP program, the EAP conducts training sessions for managers and supervisors, provides short-term counseling in a broad range of personal concerns and other issues. And enough is not said about what the EAP is and does. I want you to picture a public servant going through a pandemic where the wife or a husband lost their job because of downsizing due to COVID, where the mother fell ill and died of cancer 2 months later, where he and his wife were silently battling a complicated pregnancy to welcome their first child into the world, while he's fighting to get a promotion in the public service. And then, on top of that, in a 3-month period, imagine the government announces that they're going to cut salaries by 10%. Are you there with me? Are you depressed yet? I raised that issue because that was me less than a year ago. That was me, a little over a year ago. And I am proud to say that the Employee Assistance Program was there for me, and it helped me to get back on track. So to those of you who are in the EAP, please know that your work is invaluable and it's making a difference in the life of public servants. I want to assure those who are thinking about going to the EAP that it's okay. And on the journey to being good, we all need help sometime. Now to the best part, Minister, I don't know if I beat you, but all right, good. The good. You are a good public officer because you go the extra mile for the public. For you, improving public service is the first thing on your mind in the morning, and it's the last thing at night. You give of yourself selflessly to serve Belize during times of disaster management, every hurricane season, without complaints. Well, maybe I'll leave it at complaints, but that's understandable. You are a good public officer because you share the things that you know. What are you sharing? Anything that might help to get the job done better. Information, tactics, skills, ideas, reading materials, contracts, lunch every now and again. Wali, Ministry of Finance circular. You share because you appreciate the value of development of those around you, and you understand that it is in our collective development that the country moves forward. You are a good public officer because you seek feedback on your performance. You learn from a situation where you went wrong. You identify problem areas that need action over which you have responsibility, and you seek, accept, and action constructive criticisms. If you are here today, it is fair to assume that you are in this category, the good. Smile, you should celebrate that. Today is your day. We celebrate your value and virtue and your contributions to the public service. I want to end today by reminding you that in order to meaningfully contribute to Belize's progression, I want you to remember these simple words. Public service is about people. We understand that people need purpose. We must be honest and trustworthy. Leaders don't play politics. Integrity, you either have it or you don't. Confidence in government starts with me. If you were following, I had wanted a projector, but the first letter of all of those spells public. You are a good public officer because you understand that, follow me now, S, you share what you know. E, you endeavor to understand that people are different. R, you remember those who need encouragement. V, you value feedback on your performance. I, you invest in your team. C, you carefully give credit. E, your encouraging words are transformative. Ladies and gentlemen, recipients at today's Long Service Award, for your public service, we thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennison. It was a wonderful speech. Me long, but me good. And you were saying the truth. Yeah. Give him another big round of applause, people, please. And now I'll call upon Honorable Henry Charles Usher and, of course, his CEO, Mr. Rolando Cetina. And they're going to give some awards now. And I think that Shamaya Kal is not here. But I don't know if somebody is going to... She's here. Oh, a little while ago we called her, and anyway, she's here now. And then, of course, we have a special awards as well for the NEMO team. All right, so if we can get that underway, please. And this is a special NEMO award. Okay, to begin with, I call upon, and please forgive me if I don't pronounce your name right, Carla Seleni Alvarez. And when I call them, please give them a big round of applause, people. Come on, man. Make me support their people. And to continue, Marlon Mark Alvarez. Ingrid, or Melanie Ingrid Baptist. Denroy Desmond Barrow. Ingrid Bonilla Bennett. Louis Martin Betancourt. Right. Melanie? Yeah, okay. Denroy Desmond Barrow. I was asked to slow down a little bit. Ingrid Bennett Bonilla. I don't know. What's she giving me? Louis Martin Betancourt. Blanco Patricia. Then Louis Martin Betancourt. He gone already. Patricia Blanco. Ingrid Bonilla. Denroy Denfield Bonnell. Wait, no, just make it do this and then you tell me. Juanita Brown. Yeah, well, so that thing. Because I gone by this. I gone by this. No. I said, look, I gone by this, and then this is what she give me. So now we have to call out the GG. Okay, I did. All right. The team winner, Ms. Shalmaya Kal, can you kindly come forward, Mom? You should have been called first. Forgive me. All right, give her a big round of applause, everybody. Continue this one. Oh, she's from the Southern Regional, right? Are you a nurse, Miss? Second class clerk. Okay, very good. Give her another big round of applause. Okay, and now I'd like to call up upon Her Excellency, Dame Froila Salam. Miss Juanita. Yeah. Smile, Juanita, smile. Now I'd like to invite the GG, please. Can you kindly come on up, Mom? And along with the CU and the Minister, we're going to be calling upon the 25 years long service officers. Should I begin? Yeah. Should I begin? All right. Alvarez, Seleni, Carla Seleni Alvarez, por favor. Give her a big round of applause, people.
Yeah, I know, but this is the program, but this is the one where people at home.
No, but then she gave me this just wrong.
I think it's the same thing. Alvarez.
So continue with this. Marlon Mark Alvarez. Good. Okay, and then you're going down the line? Okay, from here? Okay. All the pages, right? Okay, okay. Okay. Ubaldo Cal. Ubaldo Cal. Raul Chun. Caroline Natalie Tucker Cud. Nydia Konorki. So you have to. Edwards Tyron Davis. Donald Clement Enriquez. Freddie Ewan. Correct Ruth Flores. Erwin Leslie Flores. Charles Galvez. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, okay, okay. Daniel Elton Flowers. Donald Elton Flowers. Daniel. Cesar Jesus Franco. Cesar Jesus Franco. Brandon Nigel Garcia. Kenyatta Garnett. Kenyatta Garnett. Gil Barbara Gibson. Jamie or Jaime? Jaime Rudel Gonzalez. Alison Dennis Guzman. Gilroy Isaiah Henry. Gerald Paul Hewlett. And my good friend from San Antonio Village, the Cayo District, Arnoldo Ho. Brian William Jones. Allen Alwin Logan. Lillian Evan Lopez. Antonio Manzanero. Antonio Manzanero. Ron Forrest. Ron Forrest. Carla Martin. She dey hide. Martin Mas. Elisa Ubando. Sonia Beatriz Ojeda Pat. Diana Palacio. Nora Adela Parham. Wayne Nicole Parham. Yolani, I'm sorry, Yolani. Santiago Isauro Pat. Janelle Natalie Pereira. Tenil. I distinctly ask to forgive me if I mispronounce the names. Ismael Cesar Pulido, the man from San Ignacio. Yvette Lamberta Quintanilla. Owen Herrera. Man, public servants no like clap. I tell you. They good, they bad, and they lazy. I tell you no man. Jason Arlington Rivero. Freddie Roches. Lyndon Charles Rojas. Cesar Augustus Romero. Or Caesar Augustus, right? Yeah. It's funny, man, when you see people, you know right away. Sorry about that, brother. It shouldn't be a big offense, man. Come on. Eliud Romero. Jerry Michael Stewart. Troy Theodore Tench. Cesar Augustus. Santiago Teul. Leodan Torres. Mark Anthony Tucker. Tamara Nicole Westby. She's a popular girl, it looks like. Nikolai Zelaya. And now these awards are for the special awards for NEMO, the NEMO folks. Okay, we're going to be calling them. Carlton Gabriel Harris, or Harris Carlton Gabriel. Those are the NEMO awards. How are they chosen? What did they do? They worked hard for NEMO during the hurricane time. They went out, they served, they saved people. They swam across flooded rivers, walked and tied their bodies because the wind was carrying them away. Yeah, and they rescued babies. Thank you. Give them a big round of applause, people. They're heroes. Kirk Godfrey Archer. Song like Hingud Pambuanaro. Verlin Cletitia Roches. Yeah. Can I call it again? Wait. Yeah, Verlin Cletitia Roches. Stacy Roxanne Ramklam Salam, like the GG. Yeah, you're Salam. Yeah, Salam. And this is Salam. So it's different. Yeah. Yeah. Tanya Neisha Smith. And for the people that came first, that didn't take pictures with the GG and the minister, we can do it when the program is over, please. According to the young ladies here, and then more than me, so, and then the boss. So we have to agree to that. Minister, GG, thank you very much for your services, ma'am. Sir. And now we have a special musical item. So I'd like to call upon the Allegro Music School. But before we do that, I'd like you all to give yourselves a big, all the people that got awards, man, come on, give yourselves a big round of applause. You deserve it. And also for those people that work with NEMO, who are always, or they always put their lives in danger during times of disaster. All right? Please give them a big round of applause, people. They deserve it as well. Mr. Alex Evans is going to play a little music for us while we take a very short break. Take it away, Alex. Come on. Please dance. Please dance. Dance. Thank you, thank you. Give him a big round of applause, people. And Gigi, we might ask you for your services again. You and the minister, maybe, because there's some people that came through the back. You know, Belizeans don't like listen. They go through the back and the name no they don't. So they got a few, and we kind of scold them right now as I talk, but that's all right. Yeah, late arrival. So we might call upon you to deliver those certificates. But if okay, it looks like I got a list. So I'd like to call upon the young ladies, or she's going to do it. Okay, so while she does that, we're going to sort that out. And then, of course, we continue the program, which is almost over. People I know are hungry, want drink. So you'll be able to do that in a little bit. But don't drink and drive, please. We have a few more people that came through, I think, through the back, and we want to give them the certificate. Yeah, so if we can, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to ask the GG to kindly come up, and the minister. Then they work a little bit harder today. So I call upon Adolfo Juan Bacab. Now we know I want to come. Okay, I'll say that. Only that one? Yeah. That's it, yeah, that's it. That are the hardest picnic people. That are the hardest picnic. Give him a big round of applause. After this, I want to call on the hardest picnic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call upon a young lady. Her name is Miss Freya Parham August. She's the chairperson of the Public Service Day National Committee under the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Affairs and Religious Affairs, and she's going to give us our vote of thanks. So coming up, Miss Freya, and give her a big round of applause. There are people who work hard.
I think we're the same height.
I think so.
Oh, I have on high heel. Thank you, Mr. Masters of Ceremony. Maya Angelou once said, "Be present in all things and grateful for all things." And my job here today is the pleasurable one of doing just that. Saying thanks and showing gratitude as we acknowledge the fact that all things in life are because of collaborative efforts, whether directly or indirectly, and intentional or unintentional. Protocol having been set, and as a person in charge of administering the Public Service Day and Awards program, on behalf of the Minister and the entire Ministry of the Public Service, I say a very pleasant good evening to each and everyone here this evening. And as I firstly acknowledge that all blessings come from above, and therefore give thanks to our Father and for his servant, Reverend Erico Reyes. Thanks be to God, and thanks again, Reverend Reyes, for bringing us God's words and his blessings. I continue, therefore, with saying to you, Minister Usher, thanks for the continued vote of confidence in our little but united unit and giving your full support to us and seeing the value in the Public Service Day and Awards program. And of course, for the many functions, like you mentioned, signing over 1,000 certificates in sets of 300. Thank you, Minister, and thank you for those profound words also. I'm sure that public officers, like you say, will get tough. Thank you, Excellency. It's a real pleasure to have you join us once again. I am extremely thankful for your consistent yes to our invitation, for presenting the awards and delivering the upcoming congratulatory toast. Thank you for your presence. Mayor Trapp, it is a pleasure to be visiting your twin town of San Ignacio and Santa Elena, and I thank you for warmly accepting to offer those welcome remarks. And for that, I say thank you. To our guest speaker, Mr. Glenfield Dennison, your address to us here today, like you said, was deep. I know I speak for most of the officers here when I say your message, though deep and tough, the issues you spoke of, reminds us that there must be that commitment as public officers to do what is right. I thank you for your address. Thank you, CEO Zetina, your support, and the entire management team and staff of the Ministry of the Public Service. I know we are all busy in our own regard, but at this time of the year, as Minister had indicated, gets busy and everyone chips in. So I thank UCO for your continued support and for the entire ministry and staff of the Ministry of the Public Service. I cannot leave the podium without saying thanks to the Public Service Day National Committee. As Minister has indicated, the efforts and the results here today are from many. We have representatives across the country, and without their support, Public Service Day would not be celebrated with a week of activities like we do today and throughout this week. Thanks to our musician. Thank you for also chipping in, as Allegro Music School was also to do the special piece and for responding impromptu to give us also that second item which unfortunately Allegro Music School had to leave and was not able to do. But we also thank Allegro Music School for the national anthem this evening. Thanks to our cultural dancers. And I cannot say or leave from here without saying thanks to you, public officers. Without you, we would not be here today. Public Service Day is celebrated to remind public officers of the value and virtue as is written in the theme. And of course, we thank our team winner for submitting those beautiful words. Last, I would just like to say once again, thanks to everyone who participated in making today's celebration a success. I thank you.
Well, I got a little glass of something here, and you know what's going to be the next item. I will proudly call upon our Gigi, and I'm very happy she taught me something today. She's not salam, she's salam, right? Her Excellency DM Froila Salam. Come on up, Gigi. I think you will need one. You have yours.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. It's alam. I love doing that. See? You threw me off guard now.
Sorry.
That's quite okay. Good evening, everyone. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be with you all once more. It's my third time. And I would like to say that when I first became GG, this award ceremony was one of the first functions I did. And so it is a particular fond memory for me. So I have a couple more years left, I hope. So please continue sending me the invitation. All I ask is just give me a 2 weeks notice and most likely I'll be here. But actually I have it already etched for next year. So I'm looking around, this whole week is yours. So as we heard earlier, we have heard of the link between government and its citizens takes place through the public service. Therefore, as a democratic country, we essentially vote for the work that the public service does. This year's banner starts with selfless service. And as the guest speaker has so eloquently spoken of, that should be the foundational attitude to our work every day. We have, furthermore, no excuse to be aloof and indifferent when we do our jobs. In return, you are recognized for the years of service given through awards such as being held tonight. Many times when I get your files on my desk, I am astonished, quite frankly, at the length of service many of you have provided to this country, some exceeding 30 years plus. I can't even begin to understand how long that is. So to my mind, that is dedication of heart for sure. Given that Belize is a young country, we have witnessed how it is maturing in both its governance and administration, which again the guest speaker spoke of so well, which will hopefully eliminate corruption and improve the public service. I encourage you all to continue to work with honesty and kindness, for in each of you lies the core of what a Belizean is. So tonight, I ask you to raise your glass to the public servants of Belize and to the continued delivery of equal treatment to all without ill will or favor. Congratulations to you all on your service. And on behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you. Cheers. Salud. Slante. I'm getting an award.
I'm always proud when you become GG. I just want to
Thank
know
you.
that I get a privilege to tell you in person.
Thank you. Don't drink up in all one gulp, yes? Because as somebody said, you cannot drive a government vehicle and drink.
And ladies and gentlemen, now our Governor General is going to be presented with a beautiful, beautiful bouquet. Give her a big round of applause. Her Excellency, Dame Froila Salam. Alam. Salam. Thank you. Yes. All right, people, and after this, you will have your group pictures as well. That's going to be the last thing on the last item. But for now, I'd like to say thank you very much, each and every one of you, for inviting me to be your MC. But I like noise. And before I leave, I was talking to the guest speaker, and he told me that he forgot to tell you, Mekano, please go early to work every day. All right? So let us all stand up. Let's stand up. And a big round of applause to all of you people. You are the ones that make Belize move. Thank you.